You are listening to CPA Review and more. You are listening to CPA Review and more. You are listening to CPA Review and more. You are listening to CPA Review and more.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening wherever you're joining from. And thank you for listening to this episode of CPA Review and More with your host, Phil Yaeger. I'm your producer and director here at the Yaeger Studios, Rob Medford, and together we are bringing you the #1 podcast for CPAs and CPA candidates. If you're new to the show, I'd like to be the first to thank you for checking us out. We're excited to have you as part of our listenership. If you're here because you've already heard our show and you're a continued listener, we thank you for the ongoing support. It's always greatly appreciated. If you're in the market for a CPA review course or simply want to know more about what Yaeger CPA Review has to offer, check out our website at yaegercpareview.com or call our office and we'll answer any questions you might have. The link and telephone number will be in the description of this episode. Here at Team Yaeger, we're excited to tell you about our new Yaeger CPA Review subscription format. It's the same great Yaeger CPA Review course that you know and love on an all-new, month-to-month, no long-term commitment subscription format. But without any further delay, I'm going to pass the microphone on over to your host, Phil Yaeger.
Well, thank you, Rob. Our guest today is Jose Zavala. Did I pronounce that correctly, Jose?
Yes.
Very good.
Yes, you did.
Jose, we're actually having this podcast today because, correct me if I'm wrong, you do actually tax returns, but you do them for clients that are remote? Is that correct?
Yes. My firm is 100% remote.
All right, and we'll talk about that in a little while, okay?
Okay.
Now, you have not taken the CPA exam, is that correct?
Yes, I have. I've taken it several times. I haven't passed it.
Okay.
That's the difference. No, I've taken it a few times. So.
Okay, well.
But now that you have the Yaeger course.
So yes, I have the Yaeger course. And now I've been actually, funny story, I was actually just on vacation, and the few times I've got decent internet out there, I was able to kind of run a couple through. So I completely switched up everything, going to you guys and going to see if maybe this should be kind of, change things up a little bit to see if I can maybe, mix it up and actually.
And which part are you studying for? Which part are you studying? Good. And the guy who does it is excellent. All right.
Okay.
Let me see. Who does that? I think I do that, right? Jose?
Yes.
Thank you. It took you a second, Jose, to think about it. All right. So anyway, Jose, by the way, he's going to pass this time because he's taking an excellent review course. So, Jose, what's it like running a tax practice and not having your CPA? Does that cause any problem to you?
Yes. To be honest with you, yes, it does. One of the first questions people always ask me is, "Are you a CPA?" And I'm just like, "No, I'm a candidate." Well, and then the first question is, "Well, what does that mean?" It's like, well, I'm eligible. I have the education. I have the background. I have everything. I just haven't passed the exams yet. I'm testing right now. And then it's either oh, okay, that's great, or oh, okay. And then at that point, I find myself having to sell myself twice as hard to somebody, just let them know, to reassure them that, hey, I have the background. I come from about 8 years working at public CPA firms. I have the experience and the knowledge. It's just a matter of I'm not a very good test taker. So.
Well, maybe I don't mean to say this, but, well, I will say it. Maybe you use the wrong materials. Did you ever think about that?
And that's why I made the switch. When I saw you guys actually did the monthly plan, I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it a try and go with it. And so that's why I was like, okay, I'm going to try to do it, because the material I had beforehand was good material. A lot of my coworkers, a lot of my colleagues used it to pass it. Just for me, it just wasn't working. I think the closest I got was 74 twice, and that was gut wrenching. And so, but at the same time, it's taken me, and this is a little bit embarrassing, but it's the reality of it. It's taken me about a good 10 years to realize that the CPA exam is not a college exam. You can't just fake your way through it, or
Wing it. We use the word
wing it.
wing it.
Perfect. That's the perfect. Yeah, you can't wing it. You actually have to dedicate everything, everything to it, and that's something that it just I would start off and then I'd burn out and oh well I can handle. No. It's taken me a bit to, and now that I'm on my own. Now that I'm on my own, and like I said, I've come across a couple I lost out on some great clients that I feel like I could have helped them out tremendously because I didn't have that certification.
Now, how many clients do you have, if I may ask?
So overall, I think I'm up to about, let me see, full service. We do bookkeeping and taxes, tax planning, all that for it. I believe we have about 30. And then tax clients, I have about an extra 20, just tax clients.
So like 50 for tax clients?
50, yeah, 50.
Those are predominantly what? Individuals, business returns? What are they?
Mainly business. I don't really do much individual. There's a few individuals I do, but I like to stick to just business returns, and I like to do full service. So the bookkeeping, the tax planning, the management reports, the advisory. I like to bundle all that together. I don't really, just personally, I don't really go after individuals tax returns. Not that I can't do them. I can. It's what I did for the majority of my career. It's just I prefer to kind of work with the business owner from beginning to end with everything, because I just feel like I provide a lot more value to them doing that way than just giving them a tax return and just saying, here, you owe this much and I'll see you next year.
How many years you been doing this type of work? Graduated. You went to work for some CPA firms, you said? When you
yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
But how many years you been on your own?
On my own, I'm coming up on 2 years.
Oh, that's
working with the other firms here locally in Houston, Texas. I would say I've got about 10 years working with them.
But your practice itself, you're saying it's been 2 years?
2 years, yes.
Okay, and that's a good number of clients to pick up in 2 years.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, it's been, I've been able to. A big thing for me that I've noticed that has helped out a lot is the tax planning. That's why I like to go after these small business owners, the ones that are right above the threshold of where they can afford to maybe do an S election or, look at different things, and where they have enough money to where they're paying too much in tax and they can afford a little bit, maybe, the bookkeeping and the tax planning, that way we can sit down and actually look at, okay, what are you guys doing? Where are y'all at? And where do you need to be? And how do we get there, kind of thing. And so that's been my approach, which has been so far has worked.
Now, if you had the CPA now, how many more clients do you think you would have?
Oh,
a tough question. It might be a tough question.
No. I kind of keep track of it. I'd say about another. I lost out for sure on 5 big ones. Okay. Where there's significant clients that I the proposal and did everything, and then last minute they're just like, well, we don't feel comfortable you not being a CPA, and I was like, okay, I understand, but overall I'd say probably about 5 big ones and then about 10 just kind of small to medium sized ones that
How much would that have been in revenue that you lost? Approximately,
to be honest with you, I'd say about an extra $10,000 a month.
10,000 a month. That's substantial.
Mm-hmm.
So there's the reason. I mean, I say to everyone who's taking the exam, you have to have a reason for doing it. Mm-hmm. And your reason is obviously so that you can build up your practice even faster and make more money each year, correct?
Yep. Yes, 100%. And, it's one of those, and I know a lot of those people that are kind of out there, I know a couple colleagues that have taking their time, with the exam and everything. For me, at least, it's a monkey on my back. It's kind of the last thing I feel like I have to do to get my career where I want it to be, to get to that point, because it's like everybody, hey, how you going with the exam? Hey, how's the exam coming? And it's always a question that always gets asked, no matter if, it's been 5-10 years since then, people are still asking, hey, how's the exam going? It's just one of those like, I'm still going. So for me, it's more of a personal goal that I want to do it. And, now that I'm on my own, it makes a huge difference. I really realize, okay, I do need it, because, again, I'm having to now compete without the exam. I now compete with unlicensed people, which there are a lot of unlicensed people that are very educated and very smart and do very good jobs. But then there are also those that maybe charge $50 for, an 1120S return, or $100 for a
Very,
corporate
very.
tax,
It's
you
very
know.
hard to compete with. Yeah, very low.
Yeah. And so they say, well, why do I go with you? Why can't I go with them? And then they're, again, then I had to sell myself extra to just like, well, look, I have the experience and I have this, but I lost out a couple of times, and I've even had clients that have left and then come back and they're like, well, actually, this other person I went to didn't work out, so let's give you a shot. And it's fine, but I should have. It kind of sucks because I could have closed the deal right then and there if I had the exam, and that's something that I've realized tremendously here in the last probably year for sure.
Now, if you were certified versus not being certified, all right, how much more could you charge? Give us an example. Like, for example, how do you bill out or how do you charge for an individual return versus a business return? And also, how do you charge out for your bookkeeping services?
So I like to do a mix between value-based billing and fixed fees.
Explain that, please. Value-based.
So value-based for me, it's all about I take a look at the project, how much value am I going to bring to them, and then I build based on that. So let's say I have a client that is maybe needs a set of some tax returns because they have they need to get their mortgage or something, and they kind of urgently. So you charge a little bit more because of the urgency. For me, I'm still trying to be honest with you, I'm still trying to get the value base down. For me, it's more kind of the fixed is where I stay predominantly, where I pick a set piece that I know that I'm going to be comfortable with and, my clients will be comfortable with. So I know for us, we start off with, it's a monthly bookkeeping package, which is a bookkeeping support. We don't even do the books. We just make sure you do them correctly. We do an overview, and we're available for any questions you have. It includes tax twice a year tax planning. So we sit down and make sure your vouchers are correct and everything. We do business tax return, individual tax return, IRS representation, and a subscription to Xero, the bookkeeping software. And all that starts at we start anywhere from about $400 to $500 a month. And that's just a one-time, every month, and that includes all that. And then for our tax returns, we do our tax returns, and then we do a 60-minute Zoom meeting where we literally go over line item by line item to make sure that every question is understood. You understand what taxes you're paying, why you're paying them, and how we can optimize maybe next year if something maybe slipped through the cracks, or if you're first time and all I did was your tax return, but now you're signing on, then we can go through and like, well, look, this is where I can help you with here, here, and here.
Are you an enrolled agent?
No. So I started to study for that, but then I got serious about the CPA, and so all my one of my mentors was telling me that he's like, don't waste your time on the EA. If you're really going to get the CPA,
right,
just focus your time on the CPA. He goes, that is, he's going to bring you a bigger value, and so that's.
Well, how do you represent your client before the IRS then?
So I actually have strategic partners that I work with that are either enrolled agents or CPAs, and so we have where I send it over to them, and I let my clients know. I'm like, look, I can't represent you in front of the IRS, but I have strategic partners that will take care of it for you, and I introduce them whenever the time comes and let them know, hey, they have this experience, and I make sure to vet them and everything. And so I have two right now that I use that in case something comes up that I need to get a hold of the IRS or something, I connect them with my client and let them kind of work, and it works out that way.
If you had the CPA, how much more do you think you'd make percentage-wise a year? Do you ever look at that?
I haven't yet. That's something I plan on looking at the end of this year to really, like I said, I've got serious about this here in the last couple months. And that's something I do want to start tracking because it is something that I feel like it makes a big difference. It does make a big difference. I know one of the big things for me that I've missed, a big reason why I've missed out on some of these clients is because they need signed financial statements for banks. And that's where I can't provide that. And, I tell them, hey, I have a strategic partnership. I have CPAs that I work with that can get that for you while I'm finishing up this exam. But again, that makes people sometimes a little bit uneasy, and which I understand 100%. And so it's just like, okay, well, if I can't provide that to you, and then if I'm competing, let's say, I'm bidding on a job and somebody else is bidding on a job, that I've been told that, because I'm not certified, I kind of get not insulted, but, talked bad about because, oh, well, this guy must not know anything. He's not enrolled. Don't go with him. And it's just like, okay, I mean, that's not how I work.
No,
I'm
that
more
hurts.
about,
Yeah, I can understand
it
that.
does, and I mean, for me, I'm all about collaboration. Competition for me, if we're competing, that's great. But for me, it's all about let's work together. I don't, JJ the CPA is one of my, I guess, de facto mentors. I don't know if he knows that yet or not, but I go to him with a lot of questions and stuff. And one of the things he told me was, don't insult your other colleagues. Always speak highly of them, even if they do a bad job. Speak highly of them, because by bringing them down, you're bringing the whole industry down. And that's just what I'm trying to avoid. But because, again, I'm not certified, I do get that a lot where, hey, well, this guy must not know what he's talking about because he's not certified.
Now, if I were a client coming into your office,
Mm-hmm.
do you immediately say, I'm not a CPA, or do you wait for them to ask you?
No, I let them know right off the bat. I'm like, look, just to let you know, this is who I am. My name's Jose Zavala. I have 10 years experience. It's public CPA firms. I've been on my own now for 2 years. And I was like, just to let you know, I'm not a CPA, but I'm a CPA candidate. And what that means is that I have all the qualifications, the education for it. I'm studying and I'm trying to pass the exams right now. And then that's usually, because the last thing I want is to kind of get to that point and then, well, are you a CPA? And then no, and they're just like, oh, I like to kind of get it out in the open and just be like, hey guys, this is who I am, this is what I do. And
But in a way, by doing that, you're sort of apologizing to them for not being a CPA. I mean, my belief would be, all right, people come in. Now, if that's important to them, they'll ask you whether you're a CPA or not. But if then it's not important, I think by you coming out and saying that, you're basically saying, well, I'm not a CPA, so I might not be as good as a CPA. So then you're going to put, doubts in people's minds. I mean, have you thought about that? I mean,
I haven't thought about it like that. That's a really good point. For me, I like to be open and honest and just kind of like, this is who I am. But I've never really thought about it that way, because most of the time they tell me, oh, well, that's okay. That doesn't matter to me. I just need somebody that knows what they're doing.
I agree. Open and honest is, I see what your point is, but you're not being dishonest.
But no, you're right.
I really feel that, just because you're a CPA doesn't mean you know any more than a non-CPA. But my point is, if someone came into my office and I said to them, all right, if someone came to me to prepare for the CPA exam, all right, then very few people ask me, do you have CPAs teaching the course? No. But if I did have a non-CPA, like to teach, some of the law subjects or the IT, all right, I'm not going to say, oh, by the way, we have a couple of people who are not CPAs, all right? That immediately, I think, will, some degree, not completely turn them off, but, put a thought in their mind, why is he bringing this up, all right? It must really say, I'm not really as good as a CPA. So, really think about that. I mean, I'm not telling you how to run your practice, believe me.
No, but I appreciate it, though. I never thought about it that way. I just always was just kind of like to be open and honest and be like, to avoid that awkwardness, because I have did there where, you get through the whole process and like, just, okay, and then they'll ask, oh, yeah, well, you're a CPA, right? And it's like, no. And, oh, and then I get that. But you bring up a really good point. And that's something I think I might try out. Just instead of being forward honest, just if they ask.
Oh, yeah. And you're not being dishonest.
Yeah.
And, if they say to you, are you a CPA? And you say no, you just say, no, I have not taken the exam yet. And I am planning on taking the exam, so that people who ask questions like you're asking, I can say to them, yes, I'm a CPA. And I would even, I would say, well, a lot of cases, even though I'm not a CPA, I have as much knowledge as a CPA probably has, with the same degree of experience that I have. I don't know. Yeah, you could say that. But
well, no, so I do preface with that. I let them know that, look, I have the experience. I let them know what my experience is, and I do let them know. There have been several instances where I have actually had to fix stuff that CPAs have done. Because not all of them. Some of them just because they're, and I tell them, just because they're licensed doesn't mean that they're automatically know everything, and
right.
And so, and I do explain to them, hey, I do have the experience and the know-how. It's just the only difference between them and me is just the three letters after the name. Is this
Absolutely correct. Now, tell us what intrigued me about what you do is, all right, you do tax returns, but you do it remotely. How does that work?
So what I do is we have a project management system called Teamwork that we use, and inside the project management system, there's file sharing capabilities. There's a task orient, so we can create tasks, and we get pretty task heavy with me, my staff, and we can even assign tasks to our clients. And so they can come in and actually see the percentage of what so let's say we're working on a tax return and we're about 50% done. They'll be able to see that it's 50% done on there. And that way there's no really like, hey, where are we at on this tax return? Hey, where are we at on this? I'm trying to avoid that because it is a virtual kind of relationship. So what I had them do, I had them upload all their information through the portal into this software. We get it, we bring it out, manipulate it, put it into our organizer that we do, and then create the tax return. Once we're done, we upload it back to the portal and let them know, hey, it's ready. Let's schedule a call so we can go ahead and go over it. They schedule a call, and then we do a Zoom meeting where we share a screen, and I just walk through it individually. Hey, this is where we're at. This is kind of where we're going and everything. Same thing with our tax plans. When we're planning, we do the same thing. We print out the little report from the software I use, and then just walk through like, this is where you're at. This is where you're going to be. This is what we've estimated, and then this is the payment we think you need to make for the second or third quarter.
I would think that people sending you the information on the internet, do they ask you? They must ask you, is this secure? Will my information get out?
Yeah, and the good thing is that system is one of my staff, Morgan. She's a stay-at-home mom, part-time. Works on her own schedule, works at home. She doesn't come into the office. She actually has IT security background.
Oh.
She worked at Protivity, I think, which is a big consulting firm. And so, she was a manager there. And so she decided to stay at home. And so now, I was able to scoop her up somehow to help me out. And so now she kind of, I guess, handles a lot of the IT side of things and primarily the security, because that's the one thing I told her, like, I want to make sure that we're 100% secure on everything. I don't want any leaks. I want us to try to get it as tight as possible, because we are working virtually, that they could be prone to a lot more, hacks or anything like that. And so that's why she set us up within Microsoft and has this, has us, all our devices are enrolled, and we can, it's just, she's got this whole big thing set up. But yes, that's the first question they ask, and I assure them, like, it is secure uploading and downloading from what I've been told. And there really is it's not like just like where through email or anything like that. It's, and I tell them everything. If they try to send me something through email, I delete it. I'm just like, hey, upload it to the portal. Do not send me. And they've all been pretty good about moving everything inside the software instead of outside through email, because we all know email is not secure at all.
No, it isn't. And even faxing returns to people, not real good idea. Is this, you're in the Houston, Texas, right?
Houston, Texas, yes, sir.
Where are these remote returns coming from?
Let's see. I've got Oregon, Wyoming, California, Florida. I've got a few in Florida, Washington, Colorado, and then the rest are kind of spread out throughout Texas.
You got any coming in from out of the country?
No.
Okay.
No, not yet.
How do you learn the state laws for every one of these states?
I just research. It takes me a bit. I go in and I research it. And usually after the first year. Now, we've done a lot of state returns at my old firms. We had kind of multi-state, so I do have experience with some of these states. So, what I don't know, I usually just do the research and just, go in and figure it out. Or if I really need to, I call them. And a lot of these states, some of these states are really nice, some are not. So, and they're very helpful. And so, if it's a question where I'm kind of, okay, am I sure about this? I'm not quite sure how to report this. Then, I'll call them up and just be like, hey guys, this is what I have. Here's the situation. Can you send me to somebody that can give me an answer? And then usually they're pretty good about it.
You charge a flat fee for your tax returns?
Yes.
And do you charge for that research you have to do?
No. That's to me, that's it's partially built into the price, but that's more just kind of me learning, because once I build up that first year, the knowledge, then the next year is gonna go a lot quicker. Because what we have internally is a knowledge base where anything we research, we index it and put it in there. That way it's accessible to anybody. That way next year you go in and all you do is just type in, California income tax, and then you can go in and see all the research that I've done with my notes and everything, or somebody else has done research on something. You can go in there and actually see what's been going on.
Do you have any people in the profession who charge for research?
Yes. At my old firm, they used to charge. They would charge for the research, and it was a pretty hefty not penalty, pretty hefty fee.
So do you feel you haven't been in the business long enough to really say, well, I'm going to charge for research?
I consider more just kind of, I'm learning, so I'm okay with it. And it kind of goes back to the whole same thing of, I just, to be honest, I don't really feel comfortable charging for the research, probably because I'm, again, not certified.
Well, if you were a CPA right now, would you charge for research?
Yes. If I was a CPA, I'd charge for probably a lot more the stuff that I don't charge, and my prices would go up for sure.
The CPA not having it really makes such a difference in that case on you?
For me, yes. Personally, yes. Other colleagues, I don't.
Why is that? I mean, do you feel?
I don't know. It's just, I guess it's a.
You think it has to do with the fact that when people come in, you first say, "Hell, I'm not a CPA." Is that anything? Yeah, you think it? I think it really bothers you. You're not a CPA, obviously.
It does. No, I will say this. It is a huge monkey out. It is the last thing that I feel like I need to get done in my career. I've done everything else. I've always wanted to do. I wanted to be a public speaker. I wanted to do. There are certain things I've wanted to do, and I've been able to accomplish everything. The last thing that's on my mind, on my back, that I feel like is this exam. And so, yes, it really personally bugs me tremendously not having it. And a lot of it comes to, again, it may be just me personally, and this is, just kind of honest and open about it. It's just maybe I don't. It's the I guess the self-confidence. I know what I'm talking about, but if I had those three letters behind me, then whoever doubted me,
it would improve your self-confidence, I think.
Yes, 100%. I think that's where it kind of stems a lot of it is I don't have it, and I actually had a client, a very significantly big client, who we ended up parting ways because it didn't work out. Gentleman it was a bad situation, but he spent his whole time kind of like, not berating me, but questioning everything I did. Well, how do you know that
we're not a CPA?
Yes, and that was always his question. Well, you're not a CPA, and then I tell him, well, why'd you hire me? Well, no, because I want you to do the work. Okay, well then, this is the way it's gonna be. And just gentleman could sell, just he did not understand how business was ran, and so didn't understand how, making certain moves are taxable transactions, and he made some moves that caused a lot of had him make owe a lot of tax,
a lot of
gains, and in his mind it wasn't like that, because that's what he's been told. And when I told him, no, this is how it is, and I tried to explain it to him, it was pushback and pushback and pushback. And I get it. You've got your buddies telling you, no, you don't have to pay taxes on that. Or you've got his previous tax preparer who was unlicensed telling him, hey, you don't have to pay tax on that. When in reality, it's like, well, no, you do. And it's a significant amount of tax. And this is why.
That used to bug me when I did my tax practice. I hated when a client would say, Bill, I was in a bar with my friend, all right, and his accountant says this, and why are you not telling me that? Mm-hmm. And I would just say, well, first of all, maybe that person doesn't know what they're saying. And, as I got into the practice more and more, okay, I've been in practice a long time, I would say, look, Bob, if you really think that person is correct, I have no problem. I would not be hurt if you decide to use them instead of me. But I can tell you they are absolutely wrong. Now, of course, I could say that because I've been in practice for like 30 years or something. Mm-hmm. But, it's a matter of. I never thought about the CPA though, but it's a matter of the confidence. And you could be certified in a year or less. Do you know that?
Mm-hmm.
If you stay with it, okay. You can't just say I'm going to do one part and then take a hiatus and go. All right. Hey, this is important to you. I can tell. All right. So therefore, you must continue. Don't quit. And I'm not. I'll say it again. You have the right course this time. Because we use the blueprints. Follow the blueprints. That's the answer.
I'm excited, because like I said, I used that other one for so long and it just wasn't working I just told myself, no, I'm going to make it work. But I'm like, it's what's the saying? It's madness to do something that doesn't work, or there's a saying, something like that. You keep doing the same thing that doesn't work. That's madness. So it's just, okay, let me change it and let me change it up. And so that's why I decided to reach out to you guys and get, give y'all a shot.
And
so,
by the way, if you have questions, you can call me.
Yes, I know.
All right.
Yes.
I mean, I'm willing to help you because I want you to be certified so that you can hold your head up high and say, I'm a CPA. All right. And then I will say, no, it's important. And you know what? I'll tell you, the day I got the results that I passed, oh God, I was like, I was ready. I had a slice of heaven. That's the way what it was. But it's a great feeling, and you will get that. I am sure of it. And by the way, you're a good public speaker.
Thank you. I appreciate it. That's something that everyone has told me, and so JJ sent me, and I don't have it here. I just moved I had an office space, and since I'm remote now, pretty much 100%, I moved back home. And so I still haven't put all my stuff up, but he sent me a letter with his letterhead, Joshua and Jensen CPAs, and just said, you can do it, buddy, CPA by April of 2020. And I was like, okay. So I got that hanging up. I had that hanging up next to me. I got to put it up right here with the wall and just know that, hey, I got a lot of people rooting for me. And I'll tell you this, Phil, when I do pass it, and I will, and my wife already said that we're throwing a really big party. So
I didn't hear I was invited. Am I invited?
No. Oh yeah, 100%.
Tell me about this party. You didn't say, Phil, you being invited or anything. All right. What kind of food are we going to have? I just want to plan ahead so I don't eat a lot that day.
We're having Texas barbecue.
Ooh.
And I'm going to make it because
What's Texas barbecue? Is that ribs?
Smoked brisket, smoked ribs, smoked sausage, smoked chicken. I mean, smoked everything.
Is that legal in Texas?
I'm coming over.
Come on.
Is that legal in Texas to smoke meat?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a joke. All right, now. Anyway, by the way, they better not take that out of this podcast, okay? All right. People say, gee, I like to listen to this. And I have this young lady who's, I spoke to, and she's studying for the exam. She's studying for financial. And then I said, well, what do you do in a week? What do you do for fun? She says, I listen to your podcast. So I said, that's fun? She says, yes, it's so, you're funny. And, I just enjoy it. It makes me laugh. So I said, great, So if Rob takes this out, I will personally
They're ready on the chopping block.
hunt him down. But let me ask you, how do you market yourself? I mean, how do you try to get, what's your way of getting clients?
Social media, 100%.
Oh, which one?
Everything. Everything. LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, not on Snapchat yet. I do TikTok, which is like those little kids.
Is that owned by Rolex?
No.
Okay.
That should be no, but it's like that. It's a lot of kids that use it, but from what I've seen, it's also kind of older, I guess, people my age.
It can be catchy because it's music based.
Yes, and that's what it is. It's just you're just doing like a quick 15-second video to music or something and dancing, or you can talk. And I'm on everything I can be. I'm on every single platform I can be. YouTube. I'm on YouTube as well. And so it's just.
But I'll tell you, we hear the best way is LinkedIn. All right. There's one person we spoke to, and I'll leave her name out of it. Is that okay, Rob?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. She has a practice, and she uses LinkedIn exclusively. And I'm finding that that's really, to me, the best social media because you're dealing with professional people.
I think I know who you're talking about because I have a very close friendship with somebody. She has her own practice that uses LinkedIn, and so LinkedIn has been powerful for me. You know what else has been? Instagram. Instagram has
Yeah.
been very good for me because I the content I put out there, and then I just in the direct messages I'll start messaging people, and with the voice feature send them a video that just, hey, introducing myself, and if you have any questions let me know. And then it may not hit anything at first, but the more content I'm putting out there, the more things I put out there, then the questions start coming, and then the conversations start coming, and, well, what do you do exactly? How can you help me? And then go from there.
And do you network at all? Is that still being done, networking?
Yes,
Uh,
yes, I do, and then that's something that
belong to organizations? What do you do?
so yes. Right now, the only organization I belong to is the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals. I'm
Hey,
at
they're
the
good for sending tax clients.
Yeah, I met the president now, and one of the board members. I met them through at a actual a tax event with the Latino tax professionals. They were having a seminar, kind of CPE classes, and I was hanging out with Zero, helping them just kind of on their sales table, trying to get people in to use the software, and ran into them, and started going to some of their events, and yeah, they're great. I've already gotten a couple clients from there just by meeting, interacting with people, letting them know what I do. And because my focus is, yes, taxes, bookkeeping, and everything, but it's more on the technology side. It's on the automation side, and how can we use technology to help you work easier, more efficient, and in less time, so that you can either go spend more time with family or spend more time selling.
Yeah, and do you ask them for the business at some point?
Yes. Yeah. So
Okay.
we have the conversation start, and we start talking, and then I just, the friendship start, or at least maybe not the friendship, but the relationship starts to develop, and then I just come out and just say, hey, so we've been having this dancing back and forth, or we've been talking, are we actually gonna go dance or what? And sometimes they'll say, no, I'm happy with who I am, and I'm like, okay. I've had already two people who were happy with who they were, then call me up. Something happened. They didn't answer, and you know what? They didn't answer their phone. That's what it was. Their previous CPA, accountant, preparer didn't answer their phone.
How much of the phone do you use when you're trying to get a client? Do you use the phone or do you meet them? How do you do this?
So for me, I do a Zoom meeting. I like to do a Zoom meeting, and I
Yeah, I
record
mentioned
it.
that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I do a meeting, even if it's locally. I like to do a Zoom meeting just because I like to keep track of everything, and I let them know, hey, it's being recorded. We have the record. After it, I send it to them, and then I send them the proposal if they're happy with it. And then what I do is I take a copy of the recording and I put it up on that project manager website so they can see it. That way there is never any kind of miscommunications between them or me, like, hey, I promised you this, or you promised me that, or anything. It's we can always go back, and there's always a trail of what was said, what was done. That way, in case, hey, you promised me this, well, no, we discussed, we didn't, and then they can go back and listen to the conversation and see, okay, you know what, you're right, you did say no.
If I was a potential client and I said to you after you gave me your whole spiel, well, let me go back and think about it, what would you do with that?
At that point, usually what I like to do there, it's two things. I like to look at your body language. If you're just kind of brushing me off, like I can, I'm not gonna say I'm good at it, but I can kind of somewhat tell sometimes when you just, there are people that just brush it off, like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll think about it. I'm like, okay, here's my card, you know where to find me. But then if somebody that actually is like, hey, let me think about it, but like, I'll just tell them, be like, hey, if this is something you really want to do, let's schedule this call. Because if not, my calendar is gonna get booked up, and then at that point it's gonna be impossible for me to do it. I was like, I have some time now. Let's schedule this call and get this out of the way. And if they tell me no, I'm like, okay, then here's my, you have my number, reach out to me. But just to let you know, it's going to be a little bit harder because, my calendar tends to book up with client calls and everything. And so that's usually what I say. And I try to kind of get them right then and there, and there have been, don't get me wrong, I don't do everything. I do have local clients that I do go out there and meet with them. I have one that I meet on the south side of Houston once a month. I go down there and I meet with them, and they're, one of my very first clients, and so, I love working with them. I love working with all my clients, but they were my first ones, and so I like working with them, and I've actually seen them grow and grow and grow, and so it's been kind of nice to, be part of that journey with them.
I knew this accountant CPA. He was a little more brass, more pushy than I might have been, because he used to say to me, if a client says to you, potential client, if he says to you or she says to you, I really would like to think about it. This person used to say, well, what do you need to think about? So, and then the person, they probably tell you, but then this was, he would close the sale very quickly, because what he would do is he would say, now look, you told me you need an accountant to do this. I've shown you I can do this. You've shown you to do that. And you sort of get them. I feel like I'm an insurance salesman telling you this, but, nothing against insurance salesmen. But, he was a little more aggressive. Now, I'm more comfortable with what you probably would do, because, you have to look at their body language. And, hey, if they don't like you, okay, you don't want to deal with them anyway, right?
No. And I've gotten to the point now where, I can be selective with who I want to work with. So if it's a client that requires me to be at their premise or at their site, I just tell them, look, guys, I'm not capable to take care of that for you. I don't have the capacity to go and actually sit in your office. Now, if we want to find a way to maybe move you from working desk, QuickBooks 95 or something, the old programs, and we want to see if we can transition you to the cloud and maybe, start implementing some of the stuff, then of course I'd love to work with you guys. But if y'all just want me to come in and input checks into QuickBooks, it's not, I can't do that. I'm not the right person for you. And I usually, I have a list of people that I can refer them over to that'll gladly do that.
Isn't that where bots would come in?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Bots are just, there's, I'll tell you this, in my practice, we don't do a single piece of data entry. There is no input and checks. If it's not a bank feed coming in, we import it from the bank, or we take the bank statements from the client, and we use a application called auto entry where we upload the bank statements. It spits out a CSV with all the transactions. I put it into Zero is my choice. I put it into there, and then I can do a set of books. I can do a year set of books with 2 bank accounts and 2 credit cards in about 45 minutes to an hour.
Pretty good.
I can knock them out, and just like that. So whenever I do my Schedule C clients that refuse to do any kind of have no books, I can knock them out pretty quickly.
Well, Jose, I really appreciate the information. And by the way, Jose is a tax advisor. He's an automation and workflow guru.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's the remote stuff?
Yeah, that's that. And just kind of working with clients and colleagues on how to just, work more efficiently.
And you say you're an innovator. What have you done to innovate?
So for me personally, I think kind of what I'm doing is still new. I know there are more and more people doing it now, but I feel like, this whole conversation, working remotely, but having closer relationships with clients. Cause I feel like I feel like I talk to my clients now more than I did when I was at my old CPA firms, where it was just kind of a little bit more old school mentality, old school way of working. I talk with them a lot more now, and I see their face a lot more, in that conversation.
Yeah, I still believe in personal service.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have emails, we have, yes, this is good. You can see me, I can see you.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. That's to me face to face. But I think talking to clients is so important to show them that you're just not a number cruncher,
mm-hmm.
and you're not just someone who collects a check from them, but you're someone who sort of cares about them. You have to show that. You really do.
Yeah, I just, for me, my big thing is I want to necessarily disrupt this industry, but I want to kind of, it's a lot of competition. I've seen a lot of,
yes,
negativity and people bringing each other down. And I want to turn that around, and let's start building each other up, because, we help each other, because I've seen it personally with me. I work closely with Justin McAuliffe over at CPA Enterprises. We pass work back and forth with each other. I've got a couple other strategic partnerships here locally that, they do the books, they do financial reporting, but they need somebody to do the tax returns. I can take care of that for
What's
them.
wrong with that?
And why, instead of trying to compete with each other and trying to fight with each other, why not just help each other grow? And so that's kind of what I'm trying to do. That's my mission is that.
That's good, because you're doing what you're best at, and maybe you don't like bookkeeping, you don't like to do that type of stuff, where someone else enjoys it, and you enjoy doing tax returns.
Yeah, and then if something that's a little bit out of my scope, or I just don't feel like I can handle it, I'll refer it out. Instead of trying to take it on and then looking bad in front of the clientele, or looking bad in front of the the referral partner. I'm just like, hey, this is a little bit out of my wheelhouse. I can possibly research it, but let me get you with somebody that's an expert in this particular service, and I'll send it out, because they're happy. Everybody's happy at that point.
And that will avoid future liability, professional liability.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, for those who are listening to this, if you reach out to Jose and you help him with the CPA exam, you will be invited to that party.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. He could have like 3,000 people at this party. You have enough room?
We could probably make room for about. I have a client who has a pretty big venue that we can figure something out.
Okay, just don't invite Rob, who's on the call. All right.
Excuse you. I'm bringing the party.
Jose, thank you very much for being on this podcast today. And if someone would like to get a hold of Jose, all right, because maybe I'm sure he's willing to help you if you have any questions on how you start a practice, what it's, he's told us what it's like not to have the CPA, and he will have the CPA. But I'm sure Jose would be happy to talk to anybody, even speaking to me, and I'm anybody, all right? How would they get in touch with you, Jose?
Oh, of course, yeah. On all my social media, ZTX Advisors. That's probably the best way to get a hold of me.
Z as in zebra, T as in tax, X as in xylophone.
Mm-hmm.
Advisors,
yeah. And that's going to be
LLC.
Yeah. Well, just that, but the handle's going to be at ZTX Advisors.
Oh, okay.
So that's Instagram, that's Twitter, that's Facebook, and then just look for me on LinkedIn, Jose Zavala. You'll see my my nice little face on there, and then email jzavala, ZAVALA at ztxadvisors.com. I mean, whatever questions you guys have, and I love to meet people. If you just want to say hi and just say, hey, I heard you on the podcast, and hey, I'm all for it.
And if you're an accountant who has a client and you don't feel comfortable doing some of the information, all right, give Jose a call. Maybe he can help you with that. He was talking about that, how he works with other accountants. Mm-hmm. And this way, the person who takes on the client will make money, and Jose will make money, and you'll establish a friendship for life. And you're invited to the barbecue.
And that client is going to be happy, which is at the end of the day, that's what matters. That's what matters, is taking care of the client, and instead of having them just be a number, they're actually a person.
Exactly. Jose, take care. Good luck with your practice.
Thank you.
And once again, good luck with the CPA exam. I don't think you'll need luck, but you will be a CPA soon. All right.
Thank you.
Think positively, and I'm sure when I talk to you, you'll be a different person. You know? Yeah.
Yes. Well, we'll talk. We'll talk. If we don't talk beforehand, we'll talk at the party.
No. Please call me. Call me anytime. All right.
All righty. Appreciate
All right.
it. Thank you.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening, and we hope you enjoy our podcast, because we want to give you information, and also we try to entertain you to some degree. I'm not a professional comedian, but if this gig goes well, I may get on the road. Rob, you want to take it away? This is your best thing that you do, all right? And by the way, thank Jose.
Absolutely.
Okay? Thank Jose.
Once again, I'd like to thank you for being the best part of CPA Review and More with your host, Phil Yaeger. If you have any questions or topics you'd like to hear on the show, or if you'd like to be a guest on the show to share your story, we want to hear from you. Send me an email to the studio at podcast@YaegerCPAReview.com. If you're enjoying the content that we're providing, we'd greatly appreciate it if you'd submit a review to the Apple iTunes podcast app to let us know how we're doing. If you're in the market for a CPA review course or simply want to find out more about the CPA exam and what Yaeger has to offer, check out YaegerCPAReview.com or call our office and we'll answer any questions you may have. The link and the phone number will be in the description of this podcast. Here at Team Yaeger, we're excited to tell you about our new Yaeger CPA Review subscription format. It's the same great Yaeger CPA Review course that you know and love on an all-new month-to-month, no-commitment subscription format. Check it out today. Once again, my name's Rob Medford. I'm your executive producer and director here at the Yaeger Studios. And until next time, take care and be audit you can be.